There's someone who spends 24 hours a day criticizing you, sabotaging your dreams, and convincing you that you're not good enough, and that someone lives inside your head. Have you ever stopped to think about how many times a day you speak negatively about yourself? I'm an idiot. I can never do anything right. Why am I so pathetic? Researchers estimate that we have approximately 6,200 thoughts per day. And you know what's scary? Most of them are negative, and most of those negative thoughts are about ourselves. That's right. You have an inner critic that never rests. It never takes vacations, it never sleeps, and it's constantly judging you, putting you down, reminding you of every mistake you've ever made. But here's what nobody tells you. That voice isn't you. It's not trying to protect you, and it's definitely not helping you get better. In fact, that voice is destroying your life in ways you can't even imagine. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about in today's video. Chapter 1. The Origin of the Voice. Let's start from the beginning. How did you develop such a cruel inner critic? The answer lies in your childhood. When you were a child, your brain was like a sponge, absorbing everything. Every word from your parents, every disapproving look from your teacher, every laugh from your classmates when you made a mistake in front of the class. And your brain, trying to protect you from future humiliation, created a solution, an internal warning system. If I criticize you first, you'll try harder, you'll avoid mistakes, and no one will be able to hurt you. That seems logical, right? Wrong. Because this system that was supposed to protect you has become your greatest enemy. Let me tell you the story of a guy named Marcus. Marcus was a successful executive, MBA, solid career, structured family. On the outside, he seemed to have everything under control. Inside, it was a war. Every morning, even before getting out of bed, the voice would begin, "You're going to ruin that presentation today. Everyone will realize that you don't know what you're doing. You're a fraud. It's only a matter of time before they find out." Marcus spent years believing that voice was his motivation, that it kept him sharp, competitive. Until one day, in the middle of an important meeting, he had a panic attack. His heart raced, his hands sweated, and he had to run out of the room. It was at that moment that Marcus realized the voice wasn't protecting him, it was destroying him. Chapter 2. How it sabotages your own voice. Now you might be thinking, but everyone criticizes themselves sometimes. That's normal. And you're right, constructive self-criticism is healthy, but there's a huge difference between saying, "I made a mistake and I can learn from it," and saying, "I am a mistake, I'm worthless." Let me show you 3 specific ways that voice is ruining your life. First, that voice paralyzes your actions. Albert Bandura, one of the most influential psychologists of the 20th century, created the concept of self-efficacy. Basically, it's your belief in your ability to perform tasks and achieve goals. And do you know what destroys self-efficacy faster than anything else? Negative self-criticism. When you constantly tell yourself you're incapable, your brain believes it. And when your brain believes you're going to fail, you don't even try. It's the perfect self-fulfilling prophecy. Marcus never applied for promotions because the voice said, "Why bother? You're not going to get it anyway." And then, when he saw less qualified colleagues being promoted, the voice would say, "See, I told you that you're not good enough." Second, this voice creates a vicious cycle of behavior. Bandura also talked about reciprocal determinism. It's a simple but powerful idea. Your thoughts affect your behavior affects your environment, and your environment reinforces your thoughts. It works like this. You think, "I am socially incompetent." So you avoid social situations. Because you avoid practicing social skills, you don't do it. Because you don't practice, when you finally face a social situation, you feel uncomfortable. And then the voice says, "See, I told you that you're terrible with people." The cycle closes, and you're left trapped. Third, the voice steals your peace of mind. Imagine having someone following you all day long, criticizing your every move, every word, every decision. Did you eat that dessert? With absolutely no discipline. Were you nervous during a presentation? Pathetic. Did you take an afternoon off to rest? Lazy bones. While you're resting, others are working. It's exhausting. And the worst part? You can't escape, because that critic goes everywhere with you. Marcus could barely sleep, because his voice wouldn't rest. Every mistake of the day was replayed on a loop. Every social interaction was analyzed and judged. You talked nonsense in that conversation. Everyone noticed that you were insecure. You are a failure. Chapter 3. The Science Behind the Voice. Here's where it gets even more interesting. Because when you understand what is happening in your brain during self-criticism, everything starts to make sense. Neuroimaging studies show that when you are harshly self-critical, the same areas of the brain that activate during physical threats also activate. Let it sink for a second. Your brain can't differentiate between a lion running towards you and you thinking, "I'm useless." In both cases, the threat system is activated. Cortisol is released. Your body enters survival mode. And what happens when you live in that state constantly? Your body pays the price. Chronic anxiety, depression, sleep problems, compromised immune system. The voice in your head isn't just psychological. It has real physical consequences. Researchers at the University of Texas have discovered that people with high levels of self-criticism have significantly higher rates of chronic inflammation in the body. Chronic inflammation, the kind of thing that's linked to heart disease, diabetes, and other illnesses. You are literally hurting yourself with your thoughts. But there's more. Self-criticism also affects how you process positive experiences. In a study at the University of Berkeley, researchers discovered that highly self-critical people have difficulty registering positive experiences. Their brains don't absorb praise, achievements, or moments of joy in the same way. It's as if there's a filter that only lets the negative through. Marcus could receive 10 sincere compliments at work, but a single small criticism was enough, and that's what he focused on for the rest of the week. The compliments? Dismissed. They're just being polite. The criticism? Definitive proof that he was incompetent. Kristin Neff, a pioneering researcher in self-compassion at the University of Texas, says something powerful. Self-criticism doesn't lead to motivation, it leads to paralysis. When you treat yourself like an enemy, your brain responds as if it were under attack. And under attack you don't grow, you defend yourself. Albert Bandura, in his studies on self-efficacy, discovered that people who practice harsh self-criticism develop what we call learned helplessness. They begin to believe that their efforts are useless, so they stop trying to improve. And Paul Gilbert, creator of compassion-focused therapy, explains, "The inner critic is not your rational voice. It's a primitive defense mechanism that evolved to keep us safe in ancient tribes. But in the modern world, it's out of whack, constantly attacking us unnecessarily." The message from these experts is clear. Critical voices aren't helping you, they never have been. Chapter 4. The Turning Point. So what did Marcus do? After that panic attack, he sought help, and he learned something that changed everything. He learned to differentiate between self-criticism and self-observation. Self-criticism says, "You are a failure." Self-observation asks, "You made a mistake, what can you learn from it?" Self-criticism is global and permanent. "I always mess everything up." Self-observation is specific and temporary. In this specific situation, I could have acted differently. Marcus began practicing something that psychologists call cognitive distancing. When a critical voice arose, instead of automatically believing it, he would ask a simple question. Is this a fact, or is it just people talking? Am I really incompetent, or did I make a normal human error? Does everyone really think badly of me, or is it just paranoia in my mind? And something incredible began to happen. The voice has lost its power. Because when you question the voice, when you create space between yourself and thought, you realize a liberating truth. You are not your thoughts. You are the one who observes the thoughts. But here's something that will blow your mind. Recent studies in neuroplasticity show that you can literally rewire your brain, create new neural patterns, train a new inner voice. And it doesn't take years of therapy. Researchers at UCLA found measurable changes in just 8 weeks of consistent practice. 8 weeks. 2 months to begin undoing decades of destructive self-criticism. The question isn't if you can change. Science has already proven that you can. The question is, are you going? Because here is the hard truth. No one will do this for you. No therapist, no coach, no YouTube video can silence that voice for you. Only you can, but you don't have to do it alone, and you don't have to do it all at once. Marcus didn't wake up completely cured one day. He had relapses, bad days, moments when his voice returned in full force. But he continued, and slowly his voice grew weaker, less frequent, less convincing. Today, when self-criticism arises, Marcus smiles, because he recognizes it's just his voice. It's not the truth. And he moves on. So let me ask you a question. How much longer are you going to let that voice control your life? How many opportunities will you miss because you're not good enough? How many nights of sleep are you going to sacrifice dwelling on mistakes? How much potential will you waste listening to a critic who doesn't even know what they're talking about? The voice in your head is lying to you. It always has been. And the time has come for you to stop believing, because ultimately, the greatest tragedy isn't having a cruel inner critic. It's because you let him convince you that he was right. If this video resonated with you, if you recognize that voice in your own head, please like and subscribe to the channel. Here we delve deep into psychology, philosophy, and behavioral science so you can understand your mind and finally live in peace. And comment below what your most common self-critical thought is. Let's create a chain of awareness together. Change begins when you name the enemy, and you were never the enemy. Now, thank you very much for your attention. See you in the next video.